happening tomorrow in the Lagos by-election, then we'll say, oh, the rest of the nation, you know what, I've seen something, but this is a by-election. No,
Right.
it's nothing. People are agitating separately. And this is the thing I have said, that we have not been able in Nigeria to sow into the thread or draw the line or create the parallels or the relationship between politics, right, and government's delivery of inclusive services. So we're not
Yeah.
saying, you're not saying that, oh, look at this, we have this agitation, government they did this, we're not going to let them come in this. No, we're shouting on one end, they are finished, everything. But politics is happening right now. It's happening as we speak. And we're threatening, like, you people are finished, you are gone. Politics tomorrow, we're not influencing it. So it's still going to be that in the build-up to 2023, we're going to be shouting. We'll say it on social media. They are finished. They're on his finished, this political class, and they will just continue politicking. As we're speaking, there is no political party at the moment that is shaking and saying, let us have a youth wing. Oh, there's not a single one.
True.
There's not a single political party that is like, oh, more based on this thing that has happened, we need to rejig our system so that we
also
like that.
Yeah,
so it means we don't have that influence yet, and we must reach for that influence. Thank you.
Yeah, but also beyond the role that the political parties can play, do you think that the Nigerian youth have failed by themselves to organize themselves? I mean, the struggle for Nigeria's independence would not have been possible without the role that young people like Anthony Nahoro played in that process. How well has this generation been able to organize itself without the bickerings, the competitiveness, and everyone at each other's throat that we usually see when young people decide to come together to organize?
So for me, let's come back to that. I know our history is very hidden and we don't have most of the information, but knowing how much of a circle or a cycle history is, especially with Nigeria's history, is just a repetition of some times that we've seen before. And so I would say that I think that those who were loud, those who were radical, and those who would have challenged the colonial masters the most were cut out of negotiations for our independence. They were a certain kind. I don't think that at the end of the day, and much respect to Nnamdi Azikiwe, for example, but I do not think that from the Southeast, from Igbo land, right, that was the most vocal voice, the most radical person in terms of Igbo interests,
right,
tying it into Nigerian interest towards our independence and towards our future. I don't think that was the most, and I say this because I continue to see it. I don't think that the most radical voices in places we expected them were there. I think that those voices were cut short. Voices that would have been like mine, that would be in a room and like, we're not going to take what the British are saying right now. I think that, and you would see that through our conversations on freedom, our conversations on, the progress of Nigeria. It's business as usual. And I feel that the foundation itself was business as usual. I mean, we had Ghanaians and these other people. These people were dying. Our we're going to London for tea. Something is off. Like, you're going to sit with your colonial masters. Okay, I think we should have it in June. I don't want it. Let's push it 2 years forward because I don't think we are ready for this independence. Who does that? So go check our history. Is there. Like, some people say we're not ready now. Push it a bit. Maybe 2 years in front. There you go, 2 years in front. Like, this early in the year, no, maybe we'll just take it to October or take it to October. That should tell you the situation at the time. Something is off. And I feel that is repeating itself. That there are people who are very great at taking advantage of the system. And the Nigerian system, since that is its foundation, it always looks for the mildest voices, the most, the ones that we need to brand themselves and come to the table behind closed doors or in public here, which was one of the things that the SARS protest was able to, the success of it was hinged on that, right? Decentralizing and sending those voices away, like, you're not allowed to speak for us. You go away, No, we're not coming to the table. Because the history of Nigeria has been built on oh yeah, come and shout loud enough so that they recognize it and they bring you to the table. And the colonial masters, that worked. So the kind of independence we got was not really a struggle independence to me, from what I can see. It wasn't really. And here we
Okay,
are again.
yeah,
Here we are again. And the bickering, sorry, it always looks like I go round and round. I'm sorry. But the bickering we're referring to right now is what you think is a fight for the future is usually a fight for a seat at the table. And this particular table is a table that needs to break. Scatter it, use the wood, and you can't even use the wood for firewood. Just throw it away in the forest, burn it, take the ashes and throw it inside water. That is the kind of table. So the missing link where you're always confused, or you might like, why this person no one cooperate with me now? Why is this person always wanting to be the leader, or this person wants to be this, or that person wants to be that? Is that you think you're fighting for a greater Nigeria, but perhaps the fight is for a seat at this table to benefit, because this is how this system has always worked. Everyone is a hustler in the system. Your pastor, not your particular pastor, but the pastor is, the imam is, the activist is, the writer is, the broadcaster is, the doctor is. Everyone is a hustler in this oil rents dependence business coagulation called Nigeria. Thank you.
and it becomes a problem for even those who are genuine, because there is this distrust among
Yes.
young people, among
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Correct.
let's leave that issue for now and go to the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. You are from Kaduna State, and I want us to take a look specifically at Kaduna at this point. The state has become the hotbed of kidnappings in recent times and violent
Yeah.
killings. On November 14, kidnappers abducted 3 people in Zaria. On November 15, bandits killed 2 and abducted 9 in Kachia in Kaduna. On that same day, kidnappers abducted 2 and killed 1 in Kajuru in Kaduna. On November 16, bandits killed 11 in Igabi in Kaduna. On November 17, bandits killed 2 in Zango Kataf in Kaduna. In another incident, bandits killed 2 and kidnapped some people, estimated to be about 5, in Giwa in Kaduna. On that same November 17, gunmen killed 3 vigilantes in Chikum in Kaduna. On November 20, gunmen killed 1 and kidnapped 1 in Igabi in Kaduna. These statistics are from the Council on Foreign Relations, Nigeria Security Tracker. They release this every week. This was for that period in question, which focused, which I've looked at what happened specifically within Kaduna State. And even last week, we saw the case of the reports about kidnappers invading the staff quarters of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, kidnapping a lecturer along with his wife and daughter. How do you feel about this, being an indigene of Kaduna State?
I feel that it could have been prevented. Okay, sorry guys, like you constantly see me doing like this. I'm not on cocaine. I'm asthmatic, and so I tend to.
Sorry about that.
So I tend to imagine that my nose might be leaking. I have a wet nose, so I just tend to imagine I do this. Please, let's not have any misconceptions there. So, Kaduna State. I remember when we started crying out about Kaduna State, and the governor was more interested in, his image, he's I don't know if he's the Kagame today or what, I don't know what it is today's own, but, there was more concern about, you want to bring my political career down, these people are just hating. It was just a lot of pettiness. And the response was so terrible, so poor. The response was along tribal and religious lines. It was, people were getting killed, and then they would come and make these people, what's the name, what's that thing, peace and conflict resolution. People are invading villages and attacking villages with sophisticated weapons, burning things to the ground, killing farmers, hacking them in the most brutal way. And then you would come and say, we're doing a peace and conflict resolution committee. It was so insincere. It was so insincere. And I say this now, Ohimaida, I feel that if this was handled well, right, we won't be here. Because what did we do at the time? We gave them room to grow. And I'm very upset that for Kaduna State, for example, we're trying to behave like, these are random, disconnected issues. No. You know how long we've been crying about these issues. Now, by that 2016 time when we were shouting and this resurgence of those killings had happened, you had gone into our bushes, right, and really attacked this. You'd gone into the southern Kaduna bushes attack this for what it was, got proper protection for the people, and not be operating based on, oh, it's like they're saying it's my clansmen. If you are treated is as Nigerians are being attacked, and nobody should be able to attack Nigerians, right? Then we won't be here. But excuses were given, politics was played, people who cried about it were arrested, people were victimized, threatened. Then at some point, we were told that, oh, it was for one offense some years back. And you know, the funny thing about our area is these are like 53 tribes, right, that are in this area. And so sometimes they will tell you that, oh, it's just like, let me use Accra as an example. They'll tell you that, oh, one tribe in Kumasi, right, killed people 20 years ago. So the people came back to revenge, right? In East Legon. And then you would say that is, you get, it doesn't make any sense. But that was the excuse given, and these killings continued. And they continued, and at some point they came, oh, we begged them and we give them, why are you negotiating? And you see that negotiation sets the trend for where we are now across states in northern Nigeria. Why are you negotiating with terrorists? What about terrorism feels like negotiation to you? What about people coming to kill Nigerians? You have superior weapons, and you thought, oh, let's bring them to the table and reason with them. Something is not adding up. And then you give them this huge chunk of money in a place where they are literally using this money to buy weapons. Of course, what are they going to do with it? These people are not building, like, they don't live ostentatious lives. They're not thinking of building houses or anything. What are they going to do? Seek to conquer more. And if you're looking at the fallout, of course, of the Libyan crisis, which has led to weapons proliferation into Nigeria, our porous borders, and Boko Haram crisis spreading, this was bound to happen. Nigerian security forces, Nigerian state actors are fighting battles across how many states already? They are battle weary. Weapons are not coming. Corruption is the order of the day. Senior officers are seeing it as a way to benefit instead of really allowing the real payments to go through. We're not getting weapons from several quarters because there is the cases of human rights abuses and all of that. And of course, lack of enthusiasm to sell weapons to us from countries who mean well for the human race. You know, there is all of that happening. And dwindling funds, of course, with the corruption that is aiding the stealing of these funds. So our soldiers don't really have that much to fight with. And so instead of you, like when something starts, like the Boko Haram example should have been clear, that not based on tribal nor religious affiliation should you allow something like this to fester. You toyed with Boko Haram based on this. You toyed with Boko Haram because, and I would say this clearly, because if you treat things like this, look at the treatment IPOB is getting. IPOB does not hold weapons. But soldiers go there, shoot, kill, throw people into water, do all of these things, make people disappear. But right here, we have people taking weapons, entering villages, killing people. And we're like, oh, we're going to dialogue with them. We're going to talk to them. Let's do peace and conflict resolution here and there. Oh, this is the issue. Oh, the Sahel is drying up. The Lake Chad is drying up. Like, we're giving excuses. Well, here's where our excuses have led. So I have brought all of this to say that if the Southern Kaduna crisis was treated properly, was given the fair treatment that Nigerian lives should have gotten, we will not be where we are today. We enabled this violence. How do you enable violence? By rewarding it. What kind of reward does Nigeria give violence? For example, Nigeria loves to engage violence. If you come out to protest peacefully, you get shot at. If you come out with a gun, the government is like, well, you come to the table. Quick. We don't want to holla. That's enabling. That's encouraging them. You know, when people go and attack a village and the government decides to do, you know what, let's look at it from a tribal and religious lens, instead of getting these people arrested and prosecuted immediately and showing Nigerians that you're serious about the protection of Nigerian lives. You don't do that. What does it tell the killers? Oh, yeah, we have been enabled. We can come back again. And then tomorrow they go like, oh, we can try this new side. We can try the next side. And as they seek to conquer more, there are no funds. So what are they going to do? This kidnapping is not for nothing. That is why I'm telling you that, look, these people are not ostentatious. They don't need to build castles anywhere, but they have what they're trying to do. They're trying to conquer more land. How are they going to be able to conquer more land? They need more weapons in their hands. How are they going to get those weapons? They need money. How are they going to get money? If you kidnap one Nigerian, and you put a hefty price upon the person's head and people pay in the black market, AK-47 is about 350,000 naira. I think the locally made guns are like 40-something thousand. I think that is what it is right? Now, if somebody collects 10 million naira on your head, Ohima, you know how many AK-47s that is, and what that can help do. It's a really terrible situation. But the point comes back to that every fault can be laid on the government's table, because if they had stopped it right at the beginning, especially knowing that you do not have the forces to conquer this if it keeps going, if they had stopped it, we won't be where we are.
Yeah, thanks for that. Last Saturday, at least, we saw the Zabari Massacre. At least 100 farmers were hacked to death by Boko Haram,
Yeah.
killed, beheaded. And presidential spokesman Garba Shehu told the BBC on Monday that the farmers and the residents of that area
Mhm.
needed to have obtained clearance before visiting certain areas. How do you respond to this?
It's I mean, each time you think that they have scraped one part of the earth's crust, I think the government knows how to like scrape even deeper, and that's a problem. There is nobody the government, the Muhammadu Buhari's government cannot attack in terms of trying to pass the buck and avoid responsibility. And so this statement is direct and it's highly irresponsible. And I'm calling out Garba Shehu. That is an irresponsible statement to make. Completely irresponsible. Oh, if they took permission. I also want you to understand, because I've seen people saying that, oh, part of the fault of these farmers is they often cooperate with Boko Haram. Earlier in the year, in part of the work we're doing for COVID-19 response, I remember speaking to some members of the House of Representatives in Nigeria, members from Gombe State, from Adamawa State, and from Plateau State. And this was, hold on, please. I need to, my battery, my system. So, okay, we're back. So, I think I'm out of the shot.
Right?
Bring me back. Thank you. So, these parliamentarians were complaining that, oh, in their areas, the brutality, right, from Boko Haram and the brutality from the Nigerian army is kind of neck and neck. So people now have to manage the situation. People now have to manage the situation. And how do they have to manage the situation? That the Nigerian army, one of the examples they gave is soldiers can come and look at your cow and say they want to buy it for 5,000 naira. And if you say no, you get brutalized. A soldier can come to your shop and decide he just wants to pick something and he's not going to pay. If you ask for it, you get brutalized. If they like your daughter and you say no, which is very similar to what Boko Haram does. A lot of people have lost their lives. These people have seen increase in brutality by the Nigerian state. They have seen increase in situations that they'll just rather not go through. Many have lost their lives to state actors who are supposed to be protecting their lives and the sovereignty of the Nigerian state, right? And so, if the soldiers are doing that, and the Nigerian, what's the name, and Boko Haram is doing that, what happens? You now start to manage the situation because you no longer see the soldiers as people who have come to protect you. You see a war happening, you see a war by your head. Oh, the soldiers are here to kill Boko Haram, but they are not there to protect you. And that's the thing. Nigerian soldiers are trained to fight wars, but they are not trained to protect Nigerians. They are trained to shoot. They're very proud of it. Very, very proud of it. I've not seen a soldier in Nigeria that would tell me, you know what, my duty is to my nation and to protect what. No. They are trained to fight wars, but they're not trained to protect Nigerians. In fact, if we're in their way, we're dead. Any little thing, like there's such glee with how they refer to the opportunity to brutalize us. So my point is that at the end of the day, Nigerians don't think that this looks out for them.
Right.
Nigerians in this area have faced almost equal brutality on both ends. So they now have to negotiate to leave. Okay, Boko Haram, you say you want taxes here. I beg, we'll pay. We will not tell the soldiers you were here, please. We'll just mind our business. Just leave us alone. When the soldiers come, please just leave us alone. Thank you. And they've learned to manage it like that. And every now and then, despite towing that careful line, they still fall casualty. So I hope this provides some context to when people open their mouth and say the villagers are even cooperating with Boko Haram. The villagers are equally terrorized by state actors or state troops on ground. They are terrorized by state troops on ground. They are terrorized by Boko Haram. You cannot tell me I am lying, Ohimai. Somebody cannot come and tell me this is fake news. When right in the center of Abuja, you know what would happen to you if you brushed a soldier's car. So then you should know what people who exist in places where war is a constant are going through. You should also read Nigeria's history of ECOMOG's presence in other countries, West African countries, what they left behind, the many
Right.
children they left, the rape and all of that that happened when they were there, the brutality, and how a lot of people in those countries just really, really prayed that these boots will leave their ground. And perhaps many of us also have siblings there or relatives there that we don't know about.
Yeah, speaking
So,
of, yeah, that's quite some context you've provided there. Speaking about other countries, you are currently in Ghana, where you're supposed to be monitoring the presidential election, which is scheduled for Monday, 7th
yeah.
of December. So,
Mm.
how would you describe the political atmosphere in Ghana right now?
It's calm. It's really calm. It's I know elections are supposed to be an event, but nobody's fearing for their lives. I mean, it's calm. And some Ghanaians are still, the conversation is still, it's very nuanced. You have people like, okay, I'm listening to both ends. And I'm listening to both ends. They're really hearing about policies and things because if you hear the two contestants or the two main candidates, Nana Akufo-Addo will come and blow his own English. I've said, did you see this? 4 years ago, you could not even look at the whatever of the city. The city was balanced like this, and I'm just there like, is this? This is part of presidential campaign. People are talking like this in this our West Africa. Very impressive.
So
Very
compared
impressive.
compared to Nigeria, what really strikes you as different?
It's the level of the conversation. It's the level of the conversation. It's the intellectualism, and that there is a constant there is an obsession. Ghanaians have an obsession with what's the thing, electing or engaging intellectuals in power. Like it's a thing. You hear people like, which university did he go to serve? Did he get masters? Like it's so funny. He doesn't even have a doctorate. He wants to run for office, and I'm
All right,
like, wow,
interesting.
that's a thing. That's a thing. Wow, like, and you know what? Not to be an intellectual classist or anything, but Africa needs intellectuals in power. Africa needs people who understand the economy, who understand economics, who understand, like, it's not the one that you'd wake up. This is why, and I would point, let me use a policy in Nigeria to point out. For example, I should have no business being the president of Nigeria currently because my economy, my knowledge of economics, like pure economics and the concepts within, economics and how to run the country, I'm not as great as Okonjo Iweala. I still need to grow, right? So people are thinking, oh, Ndi, you should be president. They should be telling me instead that, oh, Ndi, you need to build more for you to get to that point. But let's come back to the example I wanted to use. So a couple of months ago, the Nigerian president, is it a couple of months ago or is this over here? Anyway, the Nigerian people in power, right? People under President Muhammadu Buhari. There's this girl, Hadiza Bala Usman, and she was made MD of the Nigerian Ports Authority. And if you know the kind of career you have to actually rise through the ranks in that place, one of my parents worked there. It's but Hadiza became the MD of Nigerian Ports Authority. And somewhere along the line, this group of people say, you know what? If we close the land border, people will be forced to bring things plenty through the ports. So we're going to close it. Like, I'm wondering what were they getting high on when they sat and thought that? Like, they came out to say it. It's not me that said it. They came out to say that we assumed, and I'm wondering that assumption was based on what?
On what?
When these things are not like, things pertaining to the economy are not black and white.
Right.
You shift to here. You're always trying to find the balance. That is why economics is just a very tricky thing. I remember my good friend, Dr. Sam Amadi, who's a great economist. I'll tell him that, this person is an economist. And you ask me, is the person an economist or the person studied economy in a Nigerian university? Like, economics in a Nigerian university. I say the person studied economics. You say, okay, the person is not an economist. He studied economics. Because it's two different things. Because to be a great economist, to be To be a great economist, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of learning, and you just have to keep going at it, and you have to prove yourself over and over. Like, they don't just put this thing and say, hey, why you come and try your luck, which is what Nigeria does. And a nation as large as this cannot afford to be trying its luck. And that is what is happening right now. So these people go and sit down because they have no knowledge of how the economy works. They have no knowledge about economics. They have no knowledge about the concept and the theories within these things. And these theories are not nonsense. They are built on things. Right. So these Caucasians did not spend all these years writing these books for us to just, I mean, it works. What they have dedicated time to doing works. We'll come back to the faults of Caucasians another time. But in terms of their theories and what works for a system, they spend a lot of time
for research and develop these things. Yeah.
Yes. And so after that, and we've seen situations where these things work. You not come and tell me you just sat down and said, if we close the land border, then things will come through the ports. Like, it just, I don't know.
It's been very...
So you will see that it's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely for something like that to then happen in a place like Ghana, because I mean, I was with the former president, His Excellency John Kufuor. That is an Oxford person. He's Oxford. If you check, what is his name, Nana Akufo-Addo, it's another Ivy League university. Like, that is what it takes.
Right.
That is what it takes. And while in larger conversations about education, I would ask for the democratization of education and the need to not be classist and kill the effect of Ivy League universities. The reality right now is that Ivy League universities are a thing, and there's a reason why they are a thing. And these people have gone through that process. And the citizens of this country respect that process and trust that, look, because you have gotten this education, you have also proven yourself in many other places. You can come and enter this place, and not like, oh my God, if you see the man, the way when he's passing, he's sitting with poor people. Hey, we're voting for president. That time when he was campaigning, he sat with people in beer parlor. He will go to beer parlor. Voting for president. It's so upsetting. It's so upsetting.
It's so upsetting, really. Thank you so much, Indikato, for being my guest on the show tonight.
I'm reading a comment that says Nigerians also lack patriotism. Hold on. The problem we have...
Okay, all right. Let's see.
The problem we are in have a lot to do with the failure of every individual. Mindset needs to change. And I just want to speak for myself. I have not failed. I've used a lot of years to fight for Nigeria. I have trained myself. Nobody did come, let me hold your hand and take you there. I have fought many years. Patriotism is not a policy. Patriotism is not a policy. We need strong systems. And that is what upsets me, that proper conversations that should be around strengthening the Nigerian system to the point that no one person can break it. That is, if a person is patriotic or not, Nigeria still stands. We tend to kill these conversations under flowery things like, yeah, we are not patriotic. If we all say we love our fatherland, our love is never enough. What Nigeria needs is strong systems that are so strong that, you know what, if somebody who comes, the person is not patriotic, the person is selfish in the approach towards, governance, towards politics, towards policies, all of that. The system, as we've seen in some developed countries that are fighting for their democracy right now, America, one person cannot take it down. Right. And that is what Nigeria needs to push for. Thank you so much for having me, Ohima.
Thank you very much. That's a fine place to leave it. Our love for Nigeria is not enough. We need strong systems, according to Indikato on the Fix with Ohima tonight. Thank you so much for joining me from Accra. It's been almost over an hour having serious conversations about so many issues about Nigeria. Although we had some technical setbacks at the beginning. It's really happy to know that we're able to carry on with this conversation today. Thank you for your patience and your time, and to everyone that joined us on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Good night to all of you from New York. I am Ohima Amaize, signing out now. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting live from New York, you are watching The Fix. It's about people, problems, and perspectives.